Exxon's lobbyists were caught on tape basically bragging about pushing climate denial, undermining Biden's climate policy. This issue is pretty fucking depraved. Should be a bombshell, but people barely raise an eyebrow anymore. I mean, it just came out.
European capital, unearthed, Greenpeace UK's investigations unit is making the final preparations, wiring up with covert recording devices. On K Street, Washington, D.C., home of America's most powerful lobbyists, Keith McCoy, a key representative of the biggest oil company in America, is waiting for the call. The timing's vital. What may be America's greatest chance to combat the climate crisis is going through Congress right now. The video connection is set up. It's time to go to work.
Hi, good to see you.
How are you?
Moments later, Mr. McCoy will become one of the first ever executives to claim that
ExxonMobil is called K. What the fuck, America? K Street is where the lobbying firms are.
Has aggressively fought climate science using front organizations to maximize shareholder profit.
In Washington,
Did
D.C.
we aggressively fight against some of the science? Yes. Did we join some of these shadow groups to work against some of the early efforts? Yes, that's true. But there's nothing illegal about that. You know, we were looking out for our investments. We were looking out for our shareholders.
In response, Exxon said, "We've supported climate science for decades," and accused Greenpeace of waging a multi-decade campaign against them and the industry. Keith McCoy.
I love when motherfuckers are like, bro, it's not illegal. Well, I mean, part of the reason why it's literally not illegal is because of all of your actions. Okay? You have a completely separate wing that this guy probably even worked at. I mean, he is. He's the federal liaison. So this guy, unironically, is the same guy that is making sure that it's not illegal.
Thinks he's being headhunted for a new job. In fact, of course, he's being covertly filmed. So tonight, a man boasting at a job interview, or a never-seen-before look at how big oil tries to manipulate big power, or both? First, the targets. Congressmen are fish. Exxon is the fisherman.
When you have an opportunity to talk to a member of Congress, you know, I liken it to fishing, right? You know, you have bait, you throw that bait out, you know, it's all these opportunities that you use, and to use the fishing analogy again, just to kind of reel them in, because they're a captive audience. They know they need you and I need them.
Senators pressed to do Exxon's bidding behind closed doors.
You want to be able to go to the chief. And so the chief knows you, that you can go to the chief and say, look, we've got this issue. We need Congressman so-and-so to be able to either introduce this bill. We need him to make a floor statement. We need him to send a letter. You name it. We've asked for everything.
Fun fact,
so who are the fish?
I'm Joe Manchin. I approve this ad because
the biggest.
This is true. He is the fucking biggest fish.
Catch, according to Mr. Coy, it's the conservative Democrat Senator Joe Manchin, who famously shot President Obama's cap-and-trade climate bill.
And I'll take dead aim at the cap-and-trade bill.
Joe Manchin, I talk to his office every week. He is the kingmaker, and he's not shy about...
He's the kingmaker, dude. Oh, God. America. L. That pathetic fucking loser is a kingmaker in this country, dude.
Man.
He's being regarded as a kingmaker by lobbyists. There is nothing like permanent L. Permanent stain on the Democratic Party, which is already pretty shitty to begin with. It's just terrible overall. Terrible, terrible, terrible stuff overall.
Sort of staking his claim early and completely changing the debate.
Legal declarations show that Senator Manchin has received tens of thousands of dollars from ExxonMobil and its trade associations. Keith McCoy names 10 other senators as crucial to ExxonMobil. Senators Mark Kelly, Chris Coons, Shelley Moore Capito, Kirsten Sinema, John Tester, Maggie Hassan, John Barrasso, Steve Daines, John Cornyn, and Marco Rubio.
I mean, literally the worst of the worst. Clown
All
asses.
bar Kelly and Hassan have taken money from Exxon, totaling.
I hope that Maggie Hassan retires at some point, because it is the most annoying fucking thing that, like, every time her stupid fucking name gets brought up, the chat lights up with the opportunity to just spam Azan Pago every single fucking time, dude. You guys do not skip a single beat on that same joke that you have run into the fucking ground.
$117,000. We gave all these senators a chance to respond. None did so. Exxon insists our lobbying efforts are fully compliant with all laws and are publicly disclosed on a quarterly basis. Nonetheless, a degree of secrecy appears to be key. The last thing Exxon seems to want is open accountability, facing Congress in public.
We don't want it to be us to have these conversations, especially in a hearing. It's getting our associations to step in and have those conversations and answer those tough questions and be the for lack of a better term, the whipping boy for some of these members of Congress.
So he says they hide behind trade bodies to avoid public scrutiny on the Hill.
Our CEO was invited to a hearing from a member of Congress who we know is just going to rip him to shreds when he goes there. The main thing that they're looking at is just to get ExxonMobil in front of a congressional hearing so they can rip us apart.
Big oil, big power, big pressure. The route from the K Street lobbyist offices to Capitol Hill is very well trodden. From the street to the Hill, we can now reveal the current ExxonMobil battleground and strategy.
It's big, yes. It's bold, yes. And we can get it done.
Just last week, as America continues to suffer heat waves described as apocalyptic and linked to the current climate crisis, President Biden fought to get Congress to pass his $2 trillion showpiece law, linking jobs and infrastructure to massive spending to combat climate change. On Capitol Hill, though, Exxon was also fighting to strip out spending on climate.
Dude, my favorite type of chatter, backseating my health from like 1,000 miles away, has never seen me in person, and like making statements like, or asking questions like, Hassan Pisu, is he diabetic? I just downed an entire liter of fucking water, and I drink diuretics all the time. And guess what? The more I fucking drink caffeinated sodas and the more I drink water, the more I pee.
Forget that, it lobbied. Stick to roads and bridges.
So that's a completely different conversation. When you start to stick to roads and bridges, and instead of a $2 trillion bill, it's an $800 billion bill. If you lower that threshold, you stick to highways and bridges, then a lot of the negative stuff starts to come out. Why would you put in something on emissions reductions on climate change to oil refineries in a highway bill? So, and people say, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So then you get to the germaneness and say that shouldn't be in this bill.
Sure enough, last week Biden's behemoth bill evaporated. A new law may be agreed, but major green initiatives are gone. Coincidence? Or the big oil effect? Nothing illegal, just oiling the wheels of power. Exxon said our discussions on the bill are not accurately portrayed. Our lobbying efforts are related to a tax burden that could disadvantage US businesses.
Plans capture CO2.
Recent academic studies,
Of course, dude. Come on, we're just trying to cut taxes. What the fuck, dude? Shut up.
show what Keith McCoy alleges is the wider Exxon strategy. Say one thing in public, do another in private. For example, it says publicly it supports a carbon tax. Keith McCoy says privately that's just PR.
You know, nobody is going
Hi, Hussein.
to propose
It's been a
a
while.
tax on
Hope
all
all is well.
Americans.
Happy 11 months.
And the cynical side of me says, yeah, we kind of know that. But it gives us a talking point that we can say, well, what is ExxonMobil for? Well, we're for a carbon tax.
And why? Because they're confident it'll never happen in America.
No, it's not going to, carbon tax isn't going to happen. And the bottom line is it's going to take political courage, political will in order to get something done. And that doesn't exist in politics. It just...
Dude, that's so true, though. That's the absolute brutal, honest truth, which is that because of motherfuckers like him, who also live on the same planet, which is kind of funny. Like, dude, it's not like you live in Mars, motherfucker. You live here too. Wait, is that why that's his Zoom background? Maybe he does live in Mars. Maybe the rich are just like living on a different planet and I just didn't even know about it. I can't be the only one who thinks that these like commercial space travel, the advances being made in commercial space travel is exclusively so the rich can run away from us like Elysium. I'm not alone in this, right? When the planet becomes like uninhabitable. He does look like Dorner a little bit.
Doesn't.
Exxon told us for more than a decade it's supported an economy-wide price on CO2 emissions.
We're working on ways to provide energy.
You wouldn't get on that ship, right? You mean I couldn't get on that ship? Of course, if you're 14 years old, the amount of wealth that I've accumulated seems like, you know, like, what's the sound? Like one of the richest guys on the planet? Like top 10? Maybe top 20, right? Yeah, I know.
Energy while addressing the risks of climate change.
Take electric cars. It's all about doubt and delay.
You're not going to be able to just switch to battery-operated vehicles or wind for your electricity. And just having that conversation around why that's not possible in the next 10 years is critically important to the work that we do.
But science is screaming at us that we do not have 10 years. Delay, doubt, deflect, the classic hallmarks of modern-day climate crisis denial. And ExxonMobil's alleged involvement in that is thus revealed from the inside tonight, straight from the horse's mouth.
You're still firmly in the top 1% in America? Yes, of course.